Welcome everyone to this edition of Rossiter's Ringside Report. I'm Mark Chang. Joining me is the head coach of the Annandale Boys and Girls Clubs boxing program, Leo Rossiter. And Leo, we had some good fights this past weekend.
Fantastic. Lamont Roach is really coming to his own. Um, we not only have the Russells, now we have Lamont Roach, and there's another fellow, Shakur Stevens. He's from this area, isn't he? Shakur Stevens.
He trained here for a bit. I think he was originally from Newark, New Jersey, and then I think the process was in Newark, New Jersey, brief stopover in Virginia Beach, then Alexandria, Virginia for a while, and I'm not sure where he's training now.
So can we claim him or not?
You can make an argument.
All right. Well, I'm not going to argue. Let's go with Mr. Roach.
Let's go with Mr. Roach.
Yeah. Then uh, that was a fantastic fight over the weekend he had with Cruz. The first 6 rounds, I thought Cruz won. The sixth is questionable. I thought Cruz was landing more punches, and or at least the ones that he landed, according to the announcers, that in a lot of those rounds that Roach was landing more punches, but if Cruz was landing less punches, they appeared to be the more effective ones, the cleaner ones, the harder ones. Roach was staying, he did a really good job with his jab and moving side to side, but I don't think he had the power to keep Cruz off of him. Then, so the sixth round, I say it's questionable because Roach did hit him with a hard left hook, and that might have squeezed out the round for him, but I'm not sure. There was also a knockdown, I believe, fourth round maybe. Uh, Roach got knocked down. I forget which round, but that was a 2-point round. But then Cruz got a point deducted uh, for low blows. So that evened it up a little bit. And then from the seventh round on, Roach was coming on. He was landing a lot of combinations, a few hard punches, but a lot of combinations. Cruz won. Cruz was landing fewer punches than he had previously, but once again, the ones that he landed were, appeared to be effective. Nice, good, solid, hard, clean punches. Um, so the fight ended in a draw, and uh, you can make an argument for that. I personally like the cleaner, harder punches that Cruz threw. So I would have, you know, I would have had him winning the fight. Um, but you can make an argument for the draw. Either way, Lamont Roach fought well. He's fought 2 good fights in a row, um, and like the one with against Davis, I thought he won that based on what was a knockdown that wasn't called a knockdown. And then um, I had him more or less barely losing this one against Cruz. Uh, but the people who count, they they had it dead even both fights. So he's you know I know he's probably disappointed he didn't get wins, but uh, getting draws 2 times in a row against 2 high caliber opponents ain't bad, especially with Cruz
Wow.
up in weight to fight Cruz. I think he's more comfortable in that. I just think he's growing and can't make that lower weight comfortably anymore. So that's my analysis of that event.
Yeah, I thought it was a very close fight. I don't want to argue with the judges because I'm sitting here watching on TV. It does, I always say, it does look a little bit different when you're seeing it live 3D at ringside. But it looked to me that Roach definitely showed he was the better boxer. Being the better boxer doesn't always translate into winning rounds on the scorecards necessarily. But I thought it was a close fight. I do want to make mention of the co-feature. I thought that that would actually be the more competitive fight between Oshaki Foster and Stephen Fulton. And Oshaki Foster really dominated that fight, I thought. And Stephen Fulton, I've seen him before. He's a great fighter. And even though he's the naturally smaller, and I think on the fight day he was a couple pounds heavier, but he really is the naturally smaller guy because he's competing in lower divisions. I thought it would have been more competitive, but Oshaki Foster, yeah, he had a great night, and Stephen Fulton looks like he had a bit of an off night because, like I say, he's a great fighter. But that was a very clear, decisive performance. Um, Moving on to what we have ahead of us this month, we've got the Jake Paul. Any other updates on the whole handicap situation? Because there's just a lot of stuff going around and we're not really clear on.
Yeah, this is really, really peculiar because with the Tyson fight, uh, all the they had a lot of handicaps in that fight, and they were open, out in the open with those. They didn't try to hide those. I think maybe they're trying to hide some of the stuff in this fight because they might have caught some flack from the other one because the lighter gloves, the size of the ring, all those things that um, hampered Tyson. Now, with this fight with Jake Paul, there's there's been a lot of controversy. There's a lot of rumors going around. They keep saying, the promoters, Paul and all of them, they keep saying that no, it's going to be like a legitimate fight. That there's not going to be any differential on the gloves. There's not going to be any handicaps at all. It's going to be a heavyweight fight. With that being said, a lot of knowledgeable fight analysis have it being a blowout for Anthony Joshua, um, as and that would be my opinion too. That the fight's only going to go as long as Anthony Joshua wants it to. Um, so that's about all I can uncover. There is a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors, but not really getting our fingers on anything. And but the one thing about Carl Froch, it sounds like he's trying to urinate Jake Paul off so he can get a shot at one of those fights and get a payday, because I mean he was bad mouthing Jake Paul. Then he would sit back and say, well, he does have some skill, like it wouldn't be for if he was to fight him that it would be legit because he does have some skills. But then goes right back to bad mouthing him to try to get him angry enough to want to put him on the list. That's what I came away from listening to Carl.
Right.
But that's it. It's I think if it goes over 2 rounds, uh, there's some home cooking in the backfield.
Right. I think it's quite possible. No, nobody knows, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say I know Jake Paul is biting off a lot as far as quality experience is concerned, but but I also think Jake Paul is a lot better fighter than a lot of people give him credit for. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's more competitive than people think it will be. And until I kind of get more insight into the training and so forth, and maybe what these the rules are, or the modified rules are, then maybe we could think about this further. But for the time being, I think it could be somewhat interesting because, like I said, I think Jake Paul is a little bit better than a lot of people give him credit for. And then, the other fight we have coming up in January, big fight, great fight, Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson, as you mentioned earlier. And, I'm going to be really trying to keep up with training reports on that because I think this fight is really, in a way, determined a lot by Teofimo Lopez's preparation. If he's locked in on his preparation, he could make things very difficult for Shakur Stevenson. And Shakur Stevenson is, an incredible talent, obviously. But Lopez is good himself. So I think that has the potential to be a really great fight. Um, Judging by that first press conference, it's a little bit out there, so I'm not really sure what to make of that. But I really would be curious to see how focused Teofimo is for this fight. With that said, anything else you want to share before we close shop?
Well, I would like to wish everybody a very happy holiday season. I don't know if we'll be able to squeeze in another episode before Christmas, but uh, in case we don't, I want to give everybody my best wishes for the holidays and the new year.
Well, times two from me, and thank you all for watching.